All right. Welcome to Last to Eat, the show about everyday people and extraordinary business leaders leading people in incredible ways. We are kicking off our show with a special series called Crisis Management, focusing on business leaders, entrepreneurs who've developed innovative ways to survive and in some cases thrive during the pandemic. Today, we're joined by my friend, Adrian Martinez, owner of Smoke Downtown BBQ Restaurant. Adrian, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing today.
Good. And Adrian, you've been rocking and rolling, especially over the last month or so, a lot of changes. A lot of business owners out there in San Antonio, across the country, really, they're facing a lot of tough times right now, either whether it's professionally, personally. Since the beginning of 2020, what's really challenged you as a professional, as a person, and how have those things made you maybe more empathic towards other business owners, other people, and more purposeful in the direction of Smoke as you move forward?
Well, I mean, across the board, the biggest thing from a business perspective was just to really take a step back and take everything that was going on, like take it in and see how that impact was going to be. I was one of the individuals that was fortunate enough to kind of recognize how serious the coronavirus was and jump ahead of the impact of what was going on. Big picture view, we're in a new economy. It is what it is. And for those, there's two things that we can do. We can either change and adapt, or we can leave it up to chance. So by just focusing in and, looking at the bigger picture and knowing that we're in a new economy and that we had to adjust, it's something that I did, personally and with my business.
Gotcha. And so you brought up a good word, an adaption. People have had to adapt to a lot of changes, especially business owners. So what particularly has Smoke done to adapt to what's happening around it?
Well, last week when you reached out to me to be on the segment, I was kind of excited about it because some of the topics that you mentioned were exactly what I was living over the last 6 months, basically. Come February, I make fun of this, but these are all my typed up notes that I have here, front and back, basically about everything about to not just adapt and survive, but to what I call adapt and thrive. And as I took my notes down, there's five major bullet points that I created as my Bible to how I was going to adjust my business, and the five things were to one, oversimplify my business, to hyper focus, to go digital, to sell less, and then to do an opportunity grade.
What I'll do is opportunity grade. What is that's a new one for me. What's an opportunity grade?
That in what I'm doing right now, that's step number 5. But I'd like to do just to go over the first 4 real quick and then get down to the opportunity grade, because you'll see how it all ties together for me.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So with the first one, with oversimplify, that was the most important one to me because it meant giving up everything that I built at my first venue. 14,488 square feet, basement bar, tequila bar, huge venue and all that. So I had to basically oversimplify things and I had to minimize my resources. So what I've done is I've taken this building that was 14,480 square feet and I minimized to a smaller location that was still downtown, which is less than 2,000 square feet, but has a huge opportunity with a patio. Yeah. The next thing I did to oversimplify is that I looked at my overall inventory and I asked myself, in this new economy, what are my customers looking for? And what they were looking for was the core basic barbecue. They were looking for brisket, mac and cheese, sausage, chicken. Yes, we had some fancier chefed up items on the menu, but people were looking for approachable meals and family meals. So what did? We specialized in those things. So that's how I took my inventory from about 60 different items, probably about 25 different items on the menu, things like deviled eggs and fried green tomatoes, did away with those. Now we only carry 10 items on the menu right now. Yeah. Additionally, I stripped the menu down more. And you've probably heard this, the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your profit comes from 20% of the stuff that we carry. Unfortunately, brisket is one of those higher price items, but it's got to be paired with whatever we do on our family meals. So that was the part that we oversimplified. And we made the move to the new location, drastically reduced our overhead costs from, upwards of $20-something thousand down to a couple of grand. The next point is I hyper-focused. And what I mean by hyper-focus is that I literally took all of my clients from those driving up for curbsides, those that I've hosted weddings with, those that are my corporate clients, large ones, USA, all the big ones here in town. And I said, what are these individuals looking for? And not only what are they looking for, how can my company educate and help them in the current economy? And then also analyze in the long-term economy. So what I found by doing that was on a retail or customer level, I found that it was the affordable family meals. Feed 4 people, get in a margin range somewhere in the low 20s to maybe high 20s, $6, $7 a person on average. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the business side, I found a huge need for catering. And not only just catering, individually packaged meals is the wave of the future. So I invested heavily into containers that can hold content that the liquids aren't going to spill from one compartment to another. And that put me in a whole, graphic of my own when it came for me approaching my customers. So that was my strategy there. The third bullet point was to go digital. I did a lot of advertising already within Facebook, LinkedIn, and some other platforms.
You
But
also
all
did some. You also did some more traditional advertising too, right? You had done
I
some
did
outdoor billboards, some other
all the
things
above.
too. Yeah.
And so what I did is I went digital, and the reason I went digital simply because everyone's on their phones right now, and the fact
Yeah.
that some of the bigger clients out there, Coca-Cola and some other brands, were kind of trailing off of Facebook for a little bit, and some people were marketing. We were getting a bigger bang for our buck by going digital, by creating good content that would help educate our customers on who we are and what we do. The fourth item was sell less. And what I mean by sell less is not necessarily, sell less and don't be a salesy. The content that I've been creating digitally, it's actually educating our customers. For me, it's always educate, educate, educate. And after that, the opportunity will come to sell. Once we show customers how we can make their lives easier, there's no looking back. And that's what we've done for our customers.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm sorry, did you have another
Go ahead.
point
Yeah,
on
go
that?
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was going to ask, so as business owners everywhere have the same note sheets that you have jotted down all their ideas on how to adapt. It ultimately comes down to how you trickle all that information into your staff. And, I've been coming in and out of your restaurant for years now, and the staff is always on point. They're always treating the guests with incredible service. They're always very, very mindful of the process. How do you get that instilled? Because there are people out there with the same note sheets, right? They have bullet after bullet after bullet. However, they're struggling to get that information into the heads and the hearts of their employees. How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you, my background before I was in, the bar, restaurant, entertainment industry was accounting. I'm a CPA, worked at a large firm called Ernst & Young for 10 years, another accounting firm for 2 years. So I saw the corporate structure that I worked in many years ago and versus the structure that I wanted to build for my restaurants, for my bars. And, I think that probably, when you ask that question, it goes back to the first thing is, how do you get to instill this in the employees? And it goes back to the first bullet point that I mentioned about, minimizing resources. We did this, the plan when we made the move is that, we looked at the core employees and the rest of the employees that we had, and we said, this is what we're going to do. And after we figured out who was, staying with the team and the way we were going to approach it, I gave them the flexibility of what schedules do you want to work? Do you feel safe coming to work? I have agreements with our employees that we go to work and we go home and we go to HEB maybe, but that's it. We're not out, doing other things. We want to make sure our home is a safe place. Then I'm also given the ability to work with customers on a one-on-one basis. A year or two ago, customer maybe didn't have a great experience with stuff. They'd reach out to me, let's give them a refund. Now I've given them that verbiage where they can tell the customer like, hey, you picked up a family meal and you got potato salad and you were supposed to get the cream corn. Our motto is we get your order right every time. We'll refund the money. Next time you come back, we're going to replace the entire order. So literally our curbside attendants, who are in their late teens, early 20s, are offering these to customers on a one-on-one basis and building those relationships. So just by empowering them to do more, helping them understand the direction of the company and where we're going. And one of the first things we do in the morning, the whole crew tastes the food. Hey, it's cream corn time, it's bean time, let's go, everyone line up. We're all going to say this is consistent, this is what we want to do, so everyone has that same flavor. So it's more than just a team atmosphere at this point. It's more of a beyond a family that we're building something that's going to be really huge for us.
And have the employees been positive about the changes that you made? Now, we can talk about this a little bit farther in the conversation, but you've made a move from your location at St. Paul Square down about a block and a half north of that. Have they been receiving the changes positively?
Yeah,
or has there been a bit of adjustment?
Slight adjustments, but I would say it's 95% positive. And the positivity factor comes in is because when we were at the former location, it was such a huge building. Our kitchen was on the second floor, so the cooks were on the second floor. Our front of the house was on the first floor. So-and-so was over here. Now we're all under one roof. So, now our front of the house staff is experienced what the back of the house staff goes through and vice versa. The running joke was for the cooks for the long time, well, it's easy because you just got to hand out the food to the people on the curbside. Well, little did they know that when we're 20 cars deep and someone's saying, I had a pickup time at 5:30, why isn't my one ready? Well, there's 20 cars deep, that you have to face that challenge of confronting the customer and letting them know that just mass influx. So they're seeing everything side to side. I think that's what's more hopeful. And we're also, everyone talks about the term cross utilization, but we're going to go as far as really doing that, in the sense of, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to take the order over the phone, but I'm also the person that's carving the brisket. I'm loading the smoker. I'm educating everybody on, this is the science behind not just smoke barbecue, but the catering aspect of our business as well too, and how that works.
Gotcha. My business partner and I, her especially, Tanya, she's a huge barbecue fanatic. And I always tell her, because she travels around the state going to different barbecue restaurants. And I always say, Adrian is the hardest working man in barbecue, right? But, especially during times like these, business owners everywhere, we're stressed. I've talked to so many who, they're feeling it, man, whether it's headache or it's that overwhelming feeling that you get when you've got to do something that seems like it's a hard climb. How do you break away from that? You work your butt off, you're making all these changes, but you got to find time to decompress and pull yourself away for your mental health. What is it for you? How do you reflect, and how do you get away from all the responsibilities that you have day to day?
Well, I've looked at what we've accomplished in the last couple of years with the Smoke brand. As you may have known, when we first started Smoke, 4 or 5 years ago, we hit hard with the big bus. Then the quality of the food went down, the service went down, and I committed to changing the brand about 2.5 years ago, where I was going to be the face, that I was going to fix the food, I was going to fix the service, and I did that. So when I look what I did in this massive building that I had in St. Paul Square, which is an area of town that really no one went to until I was there. Mm-hmm. I was in a pandemic before the pandemic happened. I was the only one there paying $27,000 in rent. The only reason people probably crossed the highway was, for the most part, Smoke. I mean, there's some other places around there, but knowing that I was able to pull that off, it just, at my age, it was about making a smart business move, adjusting to today's new economy. And now I am happier than ever. I wake up with a pop in my step, can't wait to get to work, because I know that we're on the verge of something even bigger than what Smoke is. I think, and that's a segue to, our next line of business, which is growing rapidly, our catering division. What some people don't realize or know about us is that we do so much more than just barbecue. When I say so much more than just barbecue, you'd be amazed at what we do. In fact, about 55% of the food that we sell is not even barbecue, because we do so much catering. That doubles back to, finding out what our clients needed, especially our business client is needing. I talked about the individually packaged meals. Right now, we service anywhere from about 300 to 600 meals a day that are catered across San Antonio. Yeah. In 2 weeks, we'll be launching our new business platform. I own the domain catersanantonio.com. So we've been working on that for some time, but it'll be a new on-demand delivery system for different business catering needs throughout San Antonio. And then we'll have 5 or 6 different cuisines that we'll be doing. So at any time that someone is in San Antonio needs business catering, a clinic, an office, a hospital, a construction site, they can go to catersanantonio.com and choose our menus from us.
Gotcha. And, you've made this change, and, can you describe a little bit about this new location? You talked about the outdoor patio and things that you're doing differently, but, there were some renderings that came out in the local media in the past week, and the vibe, it looks like it's going to be amazing. What's the timeline to get all of this built out? Because I know you're serving out of the restaurant, but the vision is not
still on there
yet.
I think you froze up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still with me, Adrian?
Mario, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me clearly?
Okay, cool. Yeah, it had to catch up.
No worries. Right. So what I was talking about is the vision's not, your new location, the vision's not complete. You're serving out of there, but there's still some work to be done. What's the timeline to getting the patio open and other aspects of the vision complete?
So when we came into this new location, the idea was phases. And phase 1 was just, let's get going again. Let's do the curbside, because it's a primary source of revenue for us. And at the same time, so was catering. So that's what we've been doing for the first couple of weeks. We're working on building out another kitchen because of the magnitude of catering that we do. We need more space. So that's all in phase 1. Phase 2 will start in 2 weeks, probably the beginning of September, maybe the last week of August, which will be building out the dining room. I expect to have the dining room open right after Labor Day. But at the same time we're working on phase 2, we're going to go right into phase 3, which is going to be the patio. And the goal with the patio is to have an awesome area where we can still allow social distancing, maybe perhaps live entertainment on a smaller scale. But ultimately, I think we'll be able to fit, if we do go back to normal, or when we do back to normal, roughly about 1,000 people out there. We want to do large
Wow.
scale events, and with the parking lot as well too. If we didn't use that for parking, we're probably up to about 25 capacity for about 2,500, 3,000 people. So I'm planning for not just the next couple of months, but I'm planning for next year, 2 years, 3 or 4 years from now. And
Yeah.
the fact that we have this amazing location with grand visibility off the highway. I never
Hmm.
thought I was going to have a restaurant where you see the sign off the highway,
Yep.
and overlooking these multi-million-dollar hotels, the Tower of America's downtown. I mean, I think we'll have one of the best, patio bars in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And when you think about patio bars, there's a lot of them out there that I love to go to right now. But
Yeah.
usually there's always one component that's missing in a patio bar, and that component is the food. So you plug our food into an awesome patio bar with plenty of social distancing. I think it's gonna be a grand win. There's nothing like it downtown. I can tell you that. If you've been to Chicken and Pickle, the one that recently opened up over there towards UTSA Boulevard, I'm modeling after that similar. It's gonna
Okay.
look fairly similar as far as like the grounds, what I want to do with the different game options and all that, the lighting, the feel,
Got it.
and the rooftop bar. It's coming.
The rooftop bar. Okay. And
Yeah.
so for those that are interested in going by now, I know things aren't complete, but they can still do curbside. They can do takeout. Can you give us an idea of where it's located at? Because it's a little bit different from where you were at before.
Sure. For those that know where we used to be, right there at St. Paul Square, we're only 2 blocks away. Literally, when you exit Highway 37, the first street you see is Chestnut. You'll take Chestnut and head north and make a left on Crockett Street. And we're at 501 East Crockett,
Got it.
501 East Crockett.
And people can do online ordering, and the food will be ready for them when they pull up into
You got it.
curbside. Got it.
Smokedowntown.com is where people can go, and that will take us to our online ordering portal. They'll see all the specials that we run. We run a different special each day, and these specials can go from anywhere from $19.99 all the way up to $24.99, and they always feed four. So massive,
Absolutely.
massive, massive value. And what that's
Yeah.
allowing us to do, yeah, it's what's allowing us to do is to reach a bigger, target market, or the audience across San Antonio. So
Yeah.
we've had people that are coming to pick up these meals that have never, one, have never heard of a restaurant, or two, have never visited us. But the price point it's such an entry level price point, you can't deny it. And the reviews have been coming in. The food's amazing.
Yeah. And for people out there who haven't tried it yet, I did 2 of those family orders last week for our
Yeah,
staff, and truthfully, I'm still working on finishing it. It
it's a
was
lot of
it was a
food.
it was a crazy amount of food. So Adrian, leadership, especially in times like this, is incredibly important. You could have all the notes you want, but you really got to be the one to sail the ship for your staff and for the people that are depending on you. So, how do you sum up leadership in your opinion in just a few short sentences? What can other people take from this?
My scenario might be a little bit more different versus some other
Sure.
people that are out there. I've
Yeah.
had other businesses that did well. I had some that failed. I've made some wrong decisions. I made some good decisions, but I can always reflect on the decisions that I've made to build a better business for today. So I feel like, for at least me, I'm in a really good position to know what we need to do right now to be successful. And the biggest thing that we need to do right now to be successful is to minimize our resources like we did, you know, and ultimately understand our customers' needs, because our customers' needs are going to be different from what they are right now, what they're going to be in 6 months, and what they're going to be in a couple of years from now. So for me, I need to get in contact with more people like yesterday. So I'm trying to get in contact with people virtually over the phone. I mean, our new wave of the economy has basically disconnected how the way we usually do business, meeting people face to face. So from that leadership perspective, I've come on with a strong approach to the team. This is our goal, this is our timeline, and this is how we're going to get here. And I've just continually shared the vision with the staff. I mean, right now, I used to have 52 employees. Right now, I have 16. But 16 of probably the hardest workers that I've ever had for me, and I'm so happy with the team that we have. It's amazing. It really is.
I'm glad to hear this. It's been tough times for a lot of restaurant owners. I have a lot of friends in the industry, both from my marketing firm and then also just personally. And some of them, have had to scale down the number of locations, obviously laying off employees, and some of them just don't exist anymore. So
If
it's good to
people,
hear.
if those other
Yeah, please.
restaurateurs or other individuals on their own business, if they choose to do what they were doing from a business perspective, what they were doing in the past, and they don't change, then they might barely make it, or they might not even be here. And I think that's
Yeah,
the hardest part for some entrepreneurs here, especially when it comes to restaurants.
yeah,
Um, it's adapting, it's thriving, it's changing, it's understanding where the economy is going.
yeah.
Um, there's huge opportunities out there, huge
Yeah.
opportunities. You just got to be
Yeah.
willing to change up your business model a little bit.
And I do see it. You know, people are always going to need to eat, but I do see a trend where we're going to see smaller footprints. We're going to see more emphasis on things like curbside and takeout. And you could still be successful. You just have to be willing to make that investment today. And so, you know, you mentioned it a few minutes ago about where people can find more info. But can you repeat that for people who maybe just kind of glossed over it and want to?
Yeah.
So, how do people get in contact?
Sure. So we're located at 501 East Commerce. I'm sorry, 501 East Crockett. We're located right there in downtown San Antonio. Our website is smokedowntown.com. Once you go to smokedowntown.com, you'll see everything about our menu, our contact information. We do a ton of catering as well too. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. As I mentioned before, we average anywhere from 300 to probably 400 or 500 meals on a daily basis that we cater. All individually packaged meals. Literally, our day starts about 5 o'clock. Our first meal session's at 6:45, 80 plates. Lunch is about two, maybe 300, and then we go to dinner sessions about another 200-300.
What did I say, man? Hardest working man in barbecue. And Adrian, you hear that sound? That is the sound of the show coming to a close. But before we let you go, we have something that we do with all of our guests called the Big Three. So this is a trivia contest. All questions are selected at random, and for every question you answer correctly, we're going to donate $10 to the charity of your choice. So you ready to get rolling with this?
I'll say I'll do even one better.
All right, what's that?
Anyone better. Anyone I get right, I'll donate an additional $50 to, and anyone I get wrong, I'll donate $50 to.
All
So it's a
right, hell of a
win-win
way
all
to
the way
kick off.
around.
Hell of a way to kick off the segment.
Yeah.
So, all right, Adrian. Question number one: San Antonio's beloved San Antonio Spurs were just bounced out of the playoffs last night. How many years have they qualified for the playoffs before this year? 19, 22, or 24 years?
22 years. Last year was 1997 when they
Boom.
didn't make it.
Boom. All right. That's one correct answer. All right. My second question. This is going to go way, way back to San Antonio's history. All right. Downtown's theater district, which you're familiar with. Which one is the oldest theater in San Antonio? I'll give you three options: the Majestic Theater, the Alameda Theater, or the Aztec Theater.
I'm gonna go with I'll go with the Aztec.
That is absolutely correct.
Right.
The Aztec Theater. Not a lot of people know that it was it's currently the oldest theater in San Antonio. Currently,
okay.
It's always been, and it will always be. That is two correct answers. All right, my third question is a movie trivia question. So Adam Sandler, I love him. You love him. Everybody loves him. Which one of these is not an Adam Sandler movie? All right, ready? Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, or Wayne's World?
Wayne's World.
Awesome. That is the third correct question. We are
Yeah.
donating $30 on your behalf, which you will be matching with $50 per question.
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome, Adrian. Well, Adrian, we want to thank you. You gave us a lot of insight into the restaurant industry. I'm sure there's a lot of men and women out there who can take a lot from this. It's really inspiring. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching and spending time with us. Thank you for listening to Last to Eat. We'll connect again. And until then, we hope that your place is one of leadership in life. Thank you so much, Adrian. We'll talk to you soon.
As always, thank you. Good day.
All right, buddy. Bye.